Okay, we're here today with Roy Oppenheim for his Foreclosure Defense workshop. Tell us what's on the agenda for tonight.
Well, tonight we're going to be addressing the different methods by which one can achieve an objective in terms of how to go about planning your exit from a property that's underwater. And there are numerous different ways that one can proceed. Obviously, one is if you're in foreclosure, you're going to defend the foreclosure, but more importantly, what is your exit strategy? How are you going to get out from under this mess? How are you going to make sure that this problem doesn't continue to haunt you for the rest of your life? How do you make sure that the banks don't come running after you for the next 6 or 7 years because you have a deficiency judgment? How do you proceed in an orderly fashion, moving on with your life during this crisis? And because we've been doing this now for quite some time, there are certain patterns that are evolving, and we're able to figure out, depending on each person's unique situation, what is best for them. And there are different pathways, and tonight we're going to be discussing each of them.
Okay, great. So what are some of the takeaways people will walk away from?
Well, I think they're going to realize that the banks are completely unresponsive unless they detect that you're in arrears or that you are constantly making payments late. That means, for example, if you are making your payments and you're underwater, the banks are going to ignore you. They're not going to acknowledge a short sale. They're not going to acknowledge a modification. And the only thing that you could do is a refi, but you're not going to be eligible for a refinance because you're not underwater. So there are all these crazy catch-22s that we have to deal with. And so sometimes we have to plan an orderly way for someone to get out of their situation. And sometimes that means that they may have to make themselves more of an ugly duckling in order to become more attractive for the banks and for them to get the recognition from the bank that they are indeed addressing a hardship. And once that hardship is acknowledged, then you have different opportunities. You can try and do a short sale, you can do a deed in lieu, you can defend in foreclosure, you may do some sort of reorganization in bankruptcy, or you may just defend the foreclosure for a very long time and then not care about the consequences for whatever reason. Right now, the banks are not universally pursuing deficiency judgments. Until recently, they were not pursuing them at all. Now we're starting to hear that more and more banks are starting to package their deficiencies and are going to be selling them off and bidding them off. And we know that some law firms, in fact, are even talking to the banks right now about representing the banks in that situation. So another shoe is going to drop. We're going to continue to be defending folks. And most importantly, we have the experience and have now seen enough of what's going on that we can provide the kind of representation that people are looking for.
Okay, great. And it also seems that homeowners don't realize that foreclosure defense is an option.
Well, that's very unfortunate. I mean, maybe as much as only 5% of the public even tries to defend the foreclosure. But there's so many problems with the foreclosures today. A lot of times the banks have lost a note. They haven't properly assigned a note. They haven't properly endorsed a note. Many times you have creditor lending issues. We have issues that we characterize as enterprise liability issues where the entire enterprise was effectively corrupt. And so you have numerous issues and numerous defenses that allow you to basically assert your legal constitutional rights in such a way that the bank cannot just come in and take your home.
Okay, great. Well, we look forward to your details tonight. And if somebody's not going to be able to attend, where can they find more information on the internet?
www.oppenheimlaw.com, or they can go to our blog at southfloridalawblog.com.
Okay, great. We'll catch up with you later, Roy.
Thank you. Good seeing you, Lisa.